Now I would like to return to speaking about my experience with yoga. So even when I grew up in this secular environment and I did yoga as a scientific way, as a sport in the communist times, because it was not allowed to speak about the spiritual part of yoga during communism. I did it as everything I do very precisely and very fully, and so very soon I started to experience the spiritual part of yoga, but I still didn't know where is this going to lead me. I didn't believe in God those times, and I was experiencing in relaxation and in breathing techniques. I was experiencing the prana. This is natural. This is where everyone should get after practicing the yoga seriously and with all the prescription rules, how to breathe, what to do, where to concentrate. And after a few months practice only, I was already experiencing things which that time I didn't know, but which belong to among the Kundalini yoga part. And I enjoyed it. I loved it very much, and my main focus became yoga. It became my main hobby. And I spent many hours a day practicing yoga in my room. So very spontaneously and very naturally I came to the inner secrets which had been not spoken about, but which come by experience. And this is the work with the nadis. The nadis are the rivers of prana in the body, and obviously sooner or later this is connected to the chakras. And there was a small group of this yoga around this yoga teacher, and when they saw that I am going to this hidden part, this was a very dangerous thing in the communist times to speak about. They offered me that they have some other practices. I can join their group during weekends in private weekend houses and private camps. So we were doing things like meeting for many hours, actually for 2 days long practice with many hours meditation and purifying techniques, nadi purifying techniques, which my yoga teacher brought from India, and he had millions of books brought from India and England about yoga, and he shared with me slowly these books. Because I started to have many experiences, obviously I was asking him many questions, and he was having many very long consultations with me about my yoga practice. Please remember that I was just 16 years when this was happening, so I was actually in the same age like Ram Bahadur Bomjon when he started his meditation. I was experiencing a few months of these very deep practices, and I didn't believe in God before, but this teacher gave me one of the many books I started to read already, just to understand what's going on in me, in my body and in my soul due to yoga. He gave me a book about Ramana Maharishi. Sri Ramana Maharishi is a teacher of, he doesn't stay in his body anymore. He left his body in 1950. But he was a yogi, an ascetic of Advaita yoga, and he lived in Arunachala. You can find many information about him on the internet, so I am not going to give details here. Ramana Maharishi, I was reading the classical book of Paul Brunton, The Secrets of India, and this Ramana Maharishi had his photos there, and I just saw something in this face. I was not sure what, because I still didn't really believe in anything spiritual. I saw something deep, something very personal to me. And so it is a private process. I am not going to share it, but naturally Ramana Maharishi became my guru. Before people spoke about the word guru, I didn't understand. I was too young also. What is it, guru? What does it mean, guru? And my yoga teacher was a perfect person, a scientist, very intellectual, very clever, and also very compassionate. He was like father to me. But still, he didn't call himself guru, and I also had no, motivation to call him guru. He was a father, he was a teacher, and a perfect teacher. But the guru is someone else. A guru is someone whom we already have from previous lives or previous worlds we were staying in, but we still don't know. And then the guru is always watching us and trying to help us to navigate us to the right path. And if there is any condition that we can learn about the guru, even intellectually, then this is a very strong experience. And this guru was for me Ramana Maharishi, and forever he will be my guru, because this is called Satguru. Satguru is only one. And you have to remember, I was 16 at that time. Ram Bahadur Bomjon was still not born. He was born in 1990, and this was happening in 1987 area. So I already had a guru, Ramana Maharishi, when I arrived to meet Ram Bahadur Bomjon. And I already had a very deep experience behind me of Patanjali's eightfold yoga, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, etc. And I've already had a big experience with the meditation techniques. Many techniques, and Advaita meditation is actually very near to the Buddhist Vipassana. I even like to make it equal, because just people call it differently in two different religious systems, but we go inside us, then all these meditation techniques actually become the same, because we, not depending on if we are Christians or Buddhists or Hindus or yogis, we inside are similar. We have thoughts, we have emotions, we have experiences from the sense organs. It's always the same. So the Advaita meditation of Ramana Maharishi is practically a Buddhist Vipassana. And I remember reading the life of Buddha during this time, and I was amazed. It had a very strong effect on me. But when I was reading about Buddha, I already knew what I was reading about, because I was already experiencing the higher states of samadhi. And now this is an area which we yogis never speak about and never boast about, because a yogi cannot be a yogi if one doesn't keep the Yama and Niyama. The Yama and Niyama are these rules, the moral principles actually, but they don't call it moral principles, they call Yama and Niyama, things which we should do and things we should avoid. So for example, a yogi cannot be a yogi if one is stealing. Like Ram Bahadur Bomjon stole my equipment, my laptop, my MP3 player. His Sangha stole many things from my bag, even my expensive jacket from Europe. I don't care because other people give me, but it's about the principle of stealing. And Yama and Niyama is teaching us not to lie. And Ram Bahadur Bomjon provenly was lying so many times into my face. He was lying about me, and he was lying about other people, they told me. And the Sangha is constantly lying, because they know the truth about me, but they are lying. They are lying I am a witch. They are lying they saw me flying in the sky. And they are lying I attacked Ram Bahadur Bomjon, and so these are all lies. So we who are in the path of yoga, we know that there is no samadhi with lies, and there is no Kundalini awakening when one is lying. It's just not happening, it's not possible. It's the same like you cannot have darkness and light in the same time. You cannot reach light through darkness. So this is my path. This yoga path was very pure and very simple and natural and spontaneous and healthy. One becomes very healthy in the body as well, and socially. All these psychological problems, which a child of 16 doesn't really have too much, but it's a teenage year, so everything is solved. We enjoy life, we finally enjoy to exist. I was very happy in this path. But this path is not a static thing, it's a dynamic thing. Exactly as the Sahasrara, the highest chakram. New Age people, which are actually forming the Sangha of Ram Bomjon, they don't know about real chakras. They always speak about chakras, Kundalini, they don't know anything about that. Because they would not be able to be evil and to harm others and to show this is a witch and that person is an attacker if they ever experienced any chakra. Because crossing the chakras in the spiritual path, it's actually purifying us from all these negative characters like lying, evilness, hatred, envy, jealousy. But they are all expressing all these negativities. The Sangha was the one who tortured me, the Sangha people raped me, and Andrea Good and Ivy Jugoa and Kim and all these New Age girls, they agree with this. So these people cannot have experience of Kundalini, cannot have experience of real chakrams. What they have is only their imagination, fantasy, illusion, wishful thinking. So when I was experiencing these higher samadhis, this could happen to me only because I was very serious about keeping the Yama and Niyama rules, the moral principles of the yoga path in everyday life. Because what is typical for the New Age people of the Sangha of Ram Bomjon? They always verbally emphasize compassion, non-stealing, non-discrimination. That's it. This makes them ecstatic, for the few minutes when Ram Bomjon is speaking about it, and they can hear these beautiful words. That is it. But when it comes to the daily practical life, inside their own Sangha, and I was part of that Sangha, they don't apply it. So do we have any other life than the daily, everyday life? Where is that space where the Sangha wants to implement these beautiful principles of Ram Bomjon, of non-violence, peace, non-discrimination? It already had to be implemented long ago. It had to be already in South Korea, when Marīci was there, when the foreigner boy was there, the Westerner boy who was also attacked. It had to be implemented when it was about not lying, but protecting the harmed ones. They always push this implementation to the far future, into some beautiful new age when they can start to do non-discrimination and peace and non-violence. But there is something under the carpet, a little too many things under that carpet of Ram Bomjon, with violence and discrimination and hatred campaigns against Matam, Marīci, the Ratanpur boy, the 17 Maharishi men, now recently the 5 men on September 2. Too many things under the carpet. So where is that everyday life to implement? It's here and now, immediately. And the Sangha always thinks that these principles will be implemented in a global level. No. We yogis, the practical yogis, do know that there is nothing like global level. This world is made up by individuals. And so every individual on his individual level has to implement the Yama and Niyama rules, the Shila of Buddhism. But why has to? Everyone is free not to. But then don't boast about being enlightened, and don't boast about being a group for implementing peace in the world, because it's not true. On every person's individual level, if it is implemented, then can only happen samadhi, and only then can happen Kundalini awakening as well. The global words, big words, pathetic speeches, they never brought samadhi to anyone. Neither the big New Age's exclamations. And so, if you are a yogi, you know that it's here and now when you have to do it. And the border between my interest and the interest of my environment, the people around me, is getting melted. Because in the beginning we practiced the yoga as something solely for our benefit, we think. But very soon the tense ego inside us gets to melt, and we start to experience that our ego is not just in our body, but we are everyone. And so if we are nice to everyone and not harm everyone, we will also feel better. This is the way of yoga, which many people still today in my country and Western countries and India and Nepal still know. But they are not going out with microphones to the stages and to shout about non-violence and peace, and they don't go to say that this woman is a witch and that man was an attacker and disturber. Nothing like this. The real path, the real inner path, is not pointing at people. They are attacking, they are disturbing, they are witches, catch them, harm them. This never happens in yoga. Yoga is helping us to feel that we are actually one with everyone else. So this was also my path. Although I started yoga with a typical teenager attitude of getting some sport to do and how beneficial it will be for me. But soon I realized that I am starting to be very interested in how other people feel and have love to them. This is the spontaneous and natural development after practicing the right path of yoga. And I really loved people afterwards. And anyone had some pain, I felt that person's pain on me. And this went so far that people who were sick, I got their sickness. But the pains which Ram Bahadur Bomjon caused to me and to Mata, breaking our hands, beating us, torturing us with many means, if Sangha or him ever had this stage of Samadhi, they would never be able to do this to others, because they would suffer most.